away from that, I think we should maybe dip our toes, get our toes a little soggy into the Who Would Win of the Week. No, how's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Does that tickle your fancy?
My fancy's tickled. It's stimulated. My fancy is certainly stimulated.
Okay, now we're crossing the line a little bit into weird conversation.
No, not at all. I'm not trying to be weird. All I'm saying is there's a pinky
and you have no underwear on
in my fancy.
And now there's a pinky.
No,
no. X-rated version of Two and Cooler. Jesus Christmas, folks. We're getting off the rails. All right, this week's Who Would Win of the Week is Happy Gilmore versus Bobby Boucher.
That's right. Two Sandler characters. One the titular Happy Gilmore. The other.
This is a battle.
The Waterboy. This is a battle. Of all the Sandler characters that there have been through the years, these are the two that. This is the toughest matchup.
Yeah, these are the two that match up the best. That's kind of. Also, I think something that you have to factor in right away before you get anything else is they're both fucking idiots. Realistic. They're both dumb. Like.
Well, dumb is a general term, perhaps, but it's interesting to see where it comes from. Bobby Boucher is naive. He's just an ignorant fuck, right? He just doesn't know any better. Whereas...
Mama said that alligators are so angry all the time because they got all those teeth and no toothbrush to brush them. But in reality, it's just the fucking Abdullah Oblongata, you fucking idiot.
That's not what Mama said.
Well, Mama can suck one, buddy.
That is so funny. But so Bobby's just very naive, and Happy Gilmore is just a narcissist, basically. He's just ignorant to... Or he's like some kind of... He's like a sociopath? I don't know.
And over again. Also, a thing to consider. So here's the thing. They're both just, from a physical perspective, match up fantastic.
Yeah, obviously.
They have like the same mindset. Happy Gilmore is the only person ever to take a skate off in a hockey game and throw it at somebody. And I've played in a lot of hockey games.
So he's elite.
I've played in a lot of hockey games, and he is by far the only person I think that's ever done that in the world. That is an unbelievable maneuver. The batting cage scene. He fights an alligator. But on the other hand, you got Bobby Boucher, who hits harder than anybody's ever been hit before.
That's true.
He brings a football team that is absolute ass, and for no reason, just because he has the ability to just tackle the shit out of people, brings them to a national championship. And he rides a lawnmower.
So let's keep breaking this down.
Okay,
I just want to break this one thing down quick. With both of these guys, the thing that fuels them is pure anger. Both of them. That's just something to consider.
And when they both get in that,
because here's
what I'll say. My initial
blinded
instinct
by their anger, like completely.
My initial
blinded.
instinct,
and then they come down
to,
quick. I would say Bobby Boucher probably comes down quicker from those than Happy Gilmore, but
my initial I kind of have the opposite argument here. My initial instinct is to take Happy Gilmore because of his hockey background, and that just, you know what I mean? That resonates with me.
Okay.
But when you bring up what you talked about on the anger factor, you see Bobby Boucher kick into this second gear when he gets angry like that. And on top of that, he kind of learns how to harness it, like make himself that angry, right? Where Happy Gilmore is actually trained in the movie, learns to do the opposite by Chubbs and kind of control his anger and reduce his anger. So that makes me think that, I mean, I know they'd both be angry, but I think that Happy Gilmore might have the instinct to try to suppress it at this point in his life, whereas Bobby Boucher would have the instant instinct to think about
really use it.
Yeah, opening up a can of whoop ass and just beating the fuck, like getting that first punch in. I mean, from a physical standpoint, they're still the exact same person.
Yeah.
So if you take two Sandlers and fight them, it's going to be a great fight to the death. But you have to consider their characteristics. And I think that the true fighting background of Happy Gilmore, because that's what he does when he plays hockey,
Mhm.
gives him an advantage there. But Bobby Boucher's ability to just that fight or
absolutely
flight
wreck
and
people.
always go towards the fight, right?
Yeah.
The second he gets it down and he just starts seeing other people's heads on heads and just fucking takes them off. I don't know. This is going to be what do you think? What are you thinking?
Well, I think that to your point about Happy Gilmore controlling his anger, I think that in the moment that wouldn't be a factor because I think he still loses control.
Yeah.
Pretty
No, he would
easily.
lose control.
Exactly.
But I'm saying, so is this okay? So here's another question then that I guess probably should have been decided right away. Is this a like they're jumping in a ring and fighting, or is this so they run into each other in the street?
Oh man, I
Like
don't know.
start like chirping at each other. Because if it's a situation where they're just getting into a ring and fighting,
Mhm.
I think that they're both going into it with a more angry with an angry mentality, and I think that benefits Happy because he already knows he has to fight. Whereas if
Right.
they run into each other in the street, it might take Happy a little bit longer because he does learn to suppress that anger to
No, I
just
think it would still
try to
take
lose it
Bobby
and
a
beat
little
the
longer,
wheels.
because Bobby Boucher, even though you're right, he does learn how to use his anger to his benefit.
Yeah.
But that's just in the game. If they just ran into each
I
other,
think that
and he
no, but
met
you
this
see him do it
guy-
outside of the game, like when he tackles Colonel Sanders.
Right, but he had
that's
to
why.
he had to get to that point. You know what I mean?
So you think that Happy would have to be the one who actually engages the
Oh,
fight?
without a doubt, without a doubt.
If we're saying that Happy has to engage the fight, I think that I'm taking Happy Gilmore. But at the same time,
I think that
I don't know.
I think
they're
that
both like fairly pain resistant.
that's
Like,
true.
They both.
They can both take a lot. Man, I think that because Happy Gilmore is more prepared for this showdown. And like I said, I do think he'd have to be sort of the instigator. But once Bobby Boucher's button is pushed, once that switch is flipped, once the instigation is in effect, I mean, you're trying to stop a full speed train, right?
Yeah.
There's no
No,
stopping
yeah.
Bobby Boucher until whatever he's doing is
Doing
done.
is done.
The guy is a pure locomotive on legs. So, oh man, but it's so tough. This is a
But
tough
didn't
one.
you kind of say that you think Happy Gilmore has that same kind of mentality?
I think, well, like both are obviously fueled by their anger, but Bobby Boucher's anger, because he spent his life repressing it, there's so much more pressure there that we see it come out that way. So while Happy Gilmore's anger would benefit him, it's not to the same level or in the same way that Bobby Boucher's does. So I think I might have to pick. I think I'm gonna take Bobby because the second he tags Happy Gilmore, I think it's over. Even though Happy has the high pain tolerance and he is a fighter, if Bobby Boucher clips you, you're toast.
I think that if we're saying that Happy is the one who's instigating this fight, though, that makes a big difference on. It's going to take Bobby a little while to get there, and Happy's already going to have the upper hand. On top of that, consider this.
But Happy doesn't know really what he's in for.
Theoretically, Mama is there, and Mama tells Bobby that Happy Gilmore is the devil,
Mm-hmm.
and so then Bobby decides that he wants to start the fight.
Okay.
I think that then Bobby would win. But if we're saying that Happy's instigating the fight, he's starting it, he's chucking the first knuck, I think that Happy Gilmore wins this fight. And I understand your side. I don't think I could even argue more than we already have as to who would win. I think it's just going to come down to preference. And that's why I'm curious to see what happens on the internet. Because we are going to send this one to social media, as always. But I think I like Happy Gilmore here. I wish saying this now, I wish we would have saved this one for a week that we had a guest on, because I'm curious to see somebody else's perspective on it.
And I think that Happy Gilmore, like I said, he's got everything going for him. But at the end of the day, a couple things. One, like I said, Bobby Boucher, straight up freight train. The other thing that we touched on at the very beginning is Happy Gilmore's sort of there's no shortage of self-assurance, right? He's a little overconfident. Yeah. And I think that would definitely help lead to his downfall in this fight.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. It kind of goes back to when we were having the Thanos conversation, no? Like, versus the Genie. Like, is the Genie too confident in his abilities that we don't actually see? That's a good point. Happy's overconfidence could create an issue.
Yeah, I think that it would. So I'm locking in Bobby Boucher.
I'm getting a phone call right now from Bauer. Should we answer it and ask him quick, no explanation, who he was picking to fight?
Tell him that we're on the podcast. And
Alex.
Matthew.
We're live on the podcast right now. We have a question for you.
Wait, can I tell the craziest thing that just happened to me on the podcast?
Can you hear him, Andy?
Yeah, I can hear him. Hold him closer, but I can hear him.
All right, yeah, tell it.
Alright, I'm pulling out. I just stopped to go pick up my laundry in my old apartment, and this fucking dude, walks out in front of my car while I'm driving, so I stop, and there's a dead squirrel laying in the road. Dude grabs it from the back, arms holding up, his fingers are holding up the squirrel's little arms, and, the claws are, sitting there, and he's, nurturing this very, very dead, hit with a car squirrel that is bleeding from the head. This thing is gushing blood on the dude's hand, and he's smoking a cigarette in the other hand. He just waves at me and then walks away with the squirrel like it was his buddy.
Like he's holding hands with the squirrel.
You can't make that shit up.
The squirrel is so dead. I have
No, Andrew, holding it from the back so that the squirrel's arms are dangling downward.
Oh, okay. I thought he was holding the squirrel's hand.
No, clearly dead.
Like a little kid, walking him down the street.
It was bleeding from the head. There was a hole in the squirrel's head.
Oh my God, that's a gruesome story.
So here's the question, and then I'll have to call you back when we finish up. We're doing the Who Would Win of the Week right now, and the Who Would Win of the Week is Bobby Boucher from the Waterboy versus Happy Gilmore from Happy Gilmore. Who do you think wins that fight? Instant reaction, no details. Who do you think wins?
Bobby Boucher's got to win.
Okay, thank you for your service.
Agreed.
I'll call you back when I'm off the pod.
Street fight Happy Gilmore.
Street fight Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. I think Bobby takes either one. It doesn't. I honestly think that in a street fight, especially because the street fight has to be initiated by Gilmore, who in this situation isn't exactly gonna know what he's getting into. Just antagonizing this guy who seems quite sheepish.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. What a great phone call to get right now, though. What a story. Dead squirrel. Alex takes Bobby. All right. So, I know he said street fight, but we'll say he took Bobby. So we'll say he sides with you. I'm gonna stick with Happy because I think that I know his overconfidence could, but I think that all in all, if he's instigating the fight, he's gonna have the upper hand on Bobby.
I disagree with that, but
Andy,
it is what
listen.
it is. That's why it's.
I'm not saying your argument isn't valid, but that's why we discuss it.
That's right.
I think that at the end of the day, once again, the internet will prove that I'm right.